Morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
We are wonderful. We are happy to have you in studio this morning. And I know, crazy Monday traffic.
Correct. No, I'm happy. I'm finally here,
Oh,
and
pleasure.
I'm grateful that you had to look for me.
Oh, yeah.
So please come and join us for this discussion.
Thank you. Yes, because what you lead is one that is particularly affecting all of us in our different spheres
Very true.
in this country.
Very true.
And so, with the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises,
Yes.
is it? Would you please paint for us a picture? We know many of us who have been affected by the pandemic
Yes.
in different ways.
Mm.
But please do paint for us a picture of the SMEs, since you have an eagle's eye view of what is in the country.
Okay. So first of all, I'll start by explaining what SMEs are, because some people don't really understand what they are.
Yes. Okay.
So if you have less than 100 employees as a business person, and if you don't make more than 1 billion shillings every year, then you are either a micro or small or medium-sized business. Now, for this country, that means 90% of all businesses are MSMEs. Some people are under the mistaken idea that they are not, but that's the truth. As a country, over 90% of all our businesses are either micro or small or medium. So when you're talking about MSMEs, we are literally talking about everybody except for your clients, MTN and Coca-Cola and a few of these other guys. Yes.
Wow. So we are literally an SME economy. Actually, micro, you said micro, small,
and medium.
When we come back,
Yes.
you'll help us understand what the micro, what the small, and what the medium categories they are.
Said I'd given you a broad definition initially, but now for you to be called a micro business, you shouldn't have more than 5 employees, and you shouldn't make more than 10 million every year. So all these women that we see selling kabalagala, all these small shops, those are micro businesses. And then for small business, you should be having up to 50 employees, but you shouldn't be making more than 100 million every year. We call you in terms of turnover, not profit, but turnover. So that's 1 year. And then if you to be called a medium-sized business, you shouldn't have more than 100 employees and shouldn't be making more than between 360 to around 1 billion Ugandan shillings in turnover. So if you look at this, very few Ugandans make over 1 billion.
That's true.
In turnover each year.
That's true.
Yes, so it means most of us are micro, small, and medium
enterprises.
Yeah.
And when the picture, we're talking a bit in the background.
Yes.
And yes, we're just saying a bit about the impact of COVID on these companies.
Correct.
Yes.
No, the impact. So the Federation of SMEs, which is the umbrella body for all MSMEs in Uganda, has taken a keen interest in the impact of COVID. We've conducted 2 surveys so far, and in both surveys we found that this disease and the pandemic rather has had a very negative impact on businesses. Just to give you an illustration, about 68% of all businesses have used up their savings during these lockdowns.
That's true.
And then about 21% have had to sell assets in order to get through. And then you have about 36% being very worried about imminent closure. And then another 12% saying they can no longer fulfill their tax obligations. So when you hear the URA Commissioner General saying our tax collection have reduced, it's because the clients who have been paying can no longer
afford to pay.
So this is the situation. That's the problem. And then some of our SMEs have had to lay off staff.
Many of them
have had to lay off staff. That's why people are now saying, oh, and so there are no jobs. SMEs are not recruiting anymore. And even for those that have employees, some of them have had to probably reduce salaries and things like that.
I remember at our workplace here, we had to go down to about 50% pay.
Yes.
And then maybe when we resumed, it went to about 80 and then fully back to 100. But that is for huge enterprises.
Correct.
I think the ones for micro and really the
small,
ones for micro, small. But now what worries me is that as much as this is there, we also have the taxman making sure that they are also introducing new taxes. How does that translate into the working of The SMEs.
The SMEs.
We think this was a mistake, really. Government introduced around 12 tax measures last
Yeah,
financial
right.
year. But we had particular issue with about 2 of them.
Which ones?
One is a 12% tax on data. Remember, government had this over-the-top tax
Yes.
that we told them it's not even economically feasible.
It doesn't even
Well,
make
it
sense.
doesn't make, even for you, not for
Right.
us. For us, it did make sense, but even for you, the effort you put into collecting the money and what you collect at the end of it doesn't make sense. And URA actually advised government and said, you know what, this is not working for us, scrap it. Then government very cleverly went and put this 12% tax on data. Obviously, they wanted to recover the money they had lost through the over-the-top tax.
Is that what it
Yes.
is?
The challenge is that during a pandemic, when we are telling people digitalize,
E-commerce.
don't meet, e-commerce, go digital, go digital, go digital, and then you're introducing a new tax measure, it's what you call double speak. It's what we call double speak, and we are happy government has realized this, and our colleagues in Ministry of Finance are reviewing to see whether this tax should remain.
Yeah.
So
there's
for
hopes of
people,
it being
there's
scrapped?
definitely hopes that it will be scrapped very
We're bearing
soon.
good news
It's
with
being,
that
it's being considered very seriously because we've told them you're losing more money. Everything is now shifting to online. Now
Yes.
this thing is going to act as a barrier from, so that people don't.
And yet you're supposed to encourage and motivate people to utilize this.
You are supposed
Right.
to encourage and motivate people to go online. So for us, these were some of the issues. There were also tax on fish more. That one I said, let the people pay. They have been earning a lot of money. There was tax on gold. We said most of us don't take
we
into
are
gold.
not money. Gold is a death wish somewhere in this country.
Let those ones pay.
Yes.
There was also this introduction of tax on fuel, which we
Yes.
said, okay, it's also not.
It's understandable.
It might be understandable,
There was something on rental tax also for the
for the land.
Landlords.
Yes, no, for the landlords actually, they were trying to just harmonize the regime for individual rental property owners and commercial property owners. There was a disparity.
Okay.
So they're trying to harmonize that too so that you don't get an advantage either through operating a company or owning rental property as an individual. It's still a challenge because that rental tax gets passed on
to the tenant.
to the tenants,
Yes.
most so people in commercial real estate.
Okay.
Because we felt in commercial real estate, people are already suffering, They've not been working, they were closed down for 3 months, in another 2 months, you didn't come in to say, okay, landlords, please give these people relief, and then you introduce this thing at this time now. It means you're pushing people out of, that's why when you walk around Kampala, you see many for rent, empty. Because these things combined have meant that many people have left. So overall, we had issues with these two taxes mainly, the issue of rental tax and then the issue of the digital tax. Yes.
Okay. Which we hope that will be dealt.
It will be reviewed. We are confident. We've been speaking to our colleagues in the Ministry of Finance, and they indicate that yes, they see the logic and they'll review it. Yes. Second, the other thing is that the Ministry of Finance, the minister, recently introduced a new budget strategy. The budget strategy means they are giving us an indication of what the new budget will be.
Look like.
And he has tentatively indicated that they're not going to introduce any new tax measures this financial year. They're going to concentrate on what they call compliance. Yes. So I think this
Making
is
sure people meet the
Yeah.
current taxes.
correct.
Right.
Do the SMEs actually pay tax? Are they registered and valid? The ones that the federation.
Okay, now I want to debunk this
Yes.
myth. And I don't know why Ugandans, even educated ones, don't appreciate simple things. Tax in this country, the bulk of it is indirect.
Indirect
It's
tax.
consumption tax. Even if you hide in your room
You
and
pay.
switch off the light, so long as you use fuel to move, you have paid the tax.
Right.
You don't need to be registered. You don't need to be known. So long as you consume. The bulk of our taxes are this way. Even when you look at the formal taxes, that say corporation tax that should be paid at the end of the year, most SMEs are out of that tax bracket.
Yes.
So even if they were registered, they would pay nothing. So most SMEs pay tax indirectly. Yes,
So,
and
so we are
people-
debunking this notion
this is
that
a wrong theory,
only
and
20% of the
no,
businesses in Uganda
You
pay
see,
taxes.
even these big companies that pay tax, it's not their money. They are just tax collectors. Because if I buy airtime, I pay tax on the airtime I've bought.
Already.
Right.
So MTN just collects from all of us and transfers that money to government. The same with beer companies, the same with all these places.
Yes.
So those guys are not the taxpayers. It's the guys who bought the airtime in the first
Well,
place.
pay
Right.
tax.
And these are SMEs mainly, because they're the ones who are using these things for productive purposes.
Wow.
So all these theories that SMEs pay tax, really, I don't take them seriously. These people need education.
Thank you. Thank you.
Indeed.
When we come back, I think we'll be talking about the stimulus package.
It has caused quite the
yes.
debate.
At least it's so to address some of the issues you raised. They, for instance, promised to give you DB about 1 trillion shillings. In the end, they gave about 455 billion.
To a particular company.
No, to Uganda Development Bank.
Okay.
Then they gave some money to the Uganda Microfinance Support Center.
Okay.
They gave some kind of tax deferral, no tax relief.
Okay. But you still pay it.
You still pay it. It's like going to your landlord and saying things are bad, then he says, please, nkwadeo mwezi. But tax relief means I have forgiven you for this month, you start next month. So it was some form of tax deferral between June and September of last financial year. And then the government promised to pay domestic carriers, government promised to pay VAT refunds, among others. Some of those things they did. And then they also asked banks to restructure loans. They gave borrowers 2 times to have their loans restructured. So these are some of the interventions government implemented.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this pandemic went on for much longer than had been anticipated. And then we even had the second lockdown. So we asked government, said, look, that first thing cannot take us to the second problem. Please come up with something new. And we are happy that they came up with what we call a Small Business Recovery Fund. This Small Business Recovery Fund will seek to support primarily small businesses, not micro. Micro businesses, government has said, please go to Microfinance Support Center for the myoga. Then they have told the medium-sized businesses, please go to the Uganda Development Bank, UDB. So now this thing will be targeting small businesses.
Okay.
It will be managed by the Bank of Uganda, and we hope that the interest rate that they'll charge won't exceed 10%.
Okay. And we said small businesses are those that have 50
between 5
between
to
5 to 50
employees,
and one
in
less
terms
than
of turnover, less than 100,
100
but
billion.
more than 10 million.
more than 10 million. Okay.
So this will be the main target. We had intense negotiations with the Ministry of Finance on this issue and Bank of Uganda, and we reached an agreement, at least on the terms. Now, what government is supposed to do is now to confirm and announce to the nation what those terms are.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this has not happened. My thinking is that it may be announced in the next budget. I'm just thinking aloud, because I don't see any movement to suggest that they're about to announce those things anytime soon. So my thing that maybe they want to announce it to the bank in the next budget,
Which is next year.
Which is next year. Well, yeah, which is next year.
Which is next
And just to
So
quote-
I don't
to
know
quote you,
whether it
Mr.
will be
Amala,
timely.
You said if government is really committed to helping small businesses, as
Yes.
stated in its